Hey guys, I know it's been a little bit, but I am back, and today I'm going to talk about my thoughts on each and every one of Madonna's concert tours. I'm not going to include her promo tours. I could do that later if you want me to talk about her promo tours. I don't really remember as much about the promo shows, the promo tours like the Confessions and a promo tour and the Hard Candy promo shows. I'm going to talk about the main tours. I'll start, of course, with the first tour. I'm going to look on Wikipedia for the exact dates on each tour. So the first tour, the Virgin Tour, um, it took me a long time to finally get exposed to the Virgin Tour um, because the VHS was not readily available anywhere. And when I saw it, which was once in a blue moon, it was highly expensive. And I was so young at the time, I couldn't afford it, not to mention I didn't have a VHS player at the time. And YouTube blocked so much of the shows. I mean, I had seen the Dress You Up music video, and I had seen the performance of Into the Groove, and the tour really kind of intrigued me because it was so. Hey guys, I know it's been a little bit, but I am back, and today I'm going to talk about my thoughts on each and every one of Madonna's concert tours. I'm not going to include her promo tours. I could do that later if you want me to talk about her promo tours. I don't really remember as much about the promo shows, the promo tours like the Confessions and a promo tour and the Hard Candy promo shows. I'm going to talk about the main tours. I'll start, of course, with the first tour. I'm going to look on Wikipedia for the exact dates on each tour. So the first tour, the Virgin Tour, it took me a long time to finally get exposed to the Virgin Tour because the VHS was not readily available anywhere. And when I saw it, which was once in a blue moon, it was highly expensive. And I was so young at the time, I couldn't afford it, not to mention I didn't have a VHS player at the time. And YouTube blocked so much of the shows. I mean, I had seen the Dress You Up music video, and I had seen the performance of Into the Groove, and the tour really kind of intrigued me because it was so elusive to me that I had real nothing about it. I didn't really know anything about it. And when I finally sat down and watched it, I don't know what I initially thought. I mean, I wasn't expecting, the big extravagant production that was put on her later tours. I felt like the show was very well done, but there are some things that have not aged well, and I think could have been done a little bit better. My biggest issue is flow of the show. Um, it was like a lot of pop concerts today, random songs that don't really fit one after another besides Material Girl and Like a Virgin. That being said, though, I do love the stage and the costumes. Madonna stages are she never does anything in the middle. It's either really, 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 really on the lower spectrum, or really, 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 really up on a high spectrum. Virgin Tour I put up on a high spectrum because it was a very nice stage, cutting edge for the time. She worked it very well. Um, it was very enjoyable. I liked the show a lot. Now, the start date was April 10th, 1985, and the end date was June the 11th, 1985. And of course, that only reached North America, although she intended to take it to Europe. Contractual things didn't really work out that way. Next up is the Who's That Girl tour. Who's That Girl tour was the very first Madonna show that I ever got to see. I bought the Ciao Italia DVD because my father had played the Confessions record and I was familiar with her name. And I got the Ciao Italia DVD um, expecting Confessions on a Dance Floor and was met with um, something I'd never seen before, which was a 1980s Madonna. Um, that's not to say I didn't love the show, because I did. I still think it's one of the best set lists that she's put together um, for a show. I don't, my only issue, I actually have three. I don't like her hair through the tour. I feel like that and Girlie show and Drown World, her hair just didn't work for me. And with Who's That Girl is because it made her look different, too different. I know Madonna's a big thing about reinvention, but when I first saw it, it didn't really look like her at all to me. My second thing is I know the early cone bra was very iconic, but the costuming for the show was so minimal. Like she had the top, and then she just put the black pants on her, the bolero jacket, and the first time she really completely changes is to put on the flamenco dress. I mean, she even puts the dress you up medley dress on over and I mean, I like the outfit. Don't get me wrong, but I would have liked to have seen a little more of a differentiation. The last thing is the stage. The stage is cutting edge. It was so big that it's impossible. It was impossible for her and the two dancers she had in three if you count the kid and her background singers to be able to fill it because it was so large that I mean wherever she was the main focus. She brought all attention to that part of the stage, but where she wasn't, it just kind of felt a little empty. And that being said, it was her first stadium tour. It wasn't strictly a stadium tour. A majority of the shows were done in stadiums. I do really like the tour, though. I just wish the hair and the costumes. Uh, Start date was June the 14th, 1987, and ended on September the 6th, 1987. There were 5 shows in Asia, 22 in North America, 11 in Europe, for 38 total. And next comes the Blond Ambition World Tour. I really like this show a lot. It's a classic show. You can't really not love it. I know I'm in the minority of believing that it's her best show because I don't think it's her best show. But the show is very enjoyable. I really love Blonde Ambition a lot. Blonde Ambition it was a fantastic achievement. It was one of the first tours to ever blend theatrical Broadway style production with popular music. And a lot of people have tried to replicate the success of Blonde Ambition in scope and essence and style. My favorite parts of the show are the first 2 acts. I love the Metropolis Fritz Lang themed act, and I love the church cathedral type act. The only act that really kind of turns me off is the Dick Tracy section, just because I didn't really like the movie, and it wasn't because of Madonna. Madonna was fantastic in it. And Madonna was amazing in Dick Tracy. I'm picky about my movies, and it was the people that were around her that I didn't quite fancy, and I just didn't. I was turned away from the section not because of how it was in the show, because I was associating it with the movie too much. But the show's fantastic. It's one of her best stages. I love the stage. It wasn't too big. It wasn't too small. It was large enough to where she could move, small enough to where it would never felt empty. The set list was fantastic. I wish she would have played "Oh Father" in full. But it's a fantastic tour. It started on April 13th, 1990, and ended on August the 5th, 1990, with 9 shows in Asia, 32 in North America, 16 in Europe, for a total of 57 shows. All right. Next comes the Girlie Show World Tour. Um, this show, I really, 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 really like a lot of things, and I dislike some things. I love the dominatrix act. I love Studio 54. Crucify me, but I wasn't huge in the cabaret section just because I felt like it was so, I don't know. It wasn't out of place in the show. It fit very finely in the show. It just this I think some of the more less memorable performances are in the beginning of cabaret. The end from I'm Going Bananas to the end of that section is great. The Virgin, or like a virgin, whatever you want to call it, I didn't really take to. Bye Bye Baby was. I don't like it when Madonna gets super repetitive, and it was the same thing that I saw and that the world had seen at the VMA performance of the song. It wasn't really any different. Um, that being said, though, Justify My Love and Everybody, fantastic performances. My really only issue with the show itself was how she looked. I made a mention of her hair. The way she looked, the hairstyle made her look so much older than she was. And I do give the Girlie Show tour a lot of credit, though, because she worked really hard. She works hard on all her tours, but with Girlie Show, she worked, I think, harder than a lot of people had seen her work before to create fashion, a show that was not only supplemental to the album Erotica, but was also something entertaining for the fans. And she talks about sex and nudity and violence a lot, but she handles it artistically. And I think that the Girlie Show handled sex and all that very professionally. Um, she did very well. Um, there were some songs off the Erotica album that I feel like should have been in the show that weren't. Um, there are some songs from the other albums that I feel like shouldn't have been in the show. Um, all in all, it's a fantastic show. It's not one of my first choice go-tos, but I do have fond memories of watching the Girlie Show tour. And that tour lasted from September the 25th, 1993 to December the 19th, 1993, with 6 shows in Europe, 12 in North America, 4 in South America, 9 in Asia, and 8 in Australia, for 39 in total. Next is my least favorite Madonna tour of all time, the Drowned World Tour. I don't know exactly why I don't love this tour, but I really don't. The whole Madonna felt so distant during Drowned World. I'm not a fan of the stage. I did not like her stage. I didn't like any of the costumes besides the geisha section. The geisha section is the only section that I really, 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 really enjoy. Although I did like the first section of the show, Drowned World through Ray of Light, and then the geisha section. I never really, ever, ever, ever liked Cowboy Madonna, and it was the same with the tour. I didn't like Cowboy Madonna. I don't like the hootenanny type hay bales, although the Mechanical Bull and Human Nature was pretty cool. I just didn't feel it. And she was so distant during the Drowned World tour. I mean, Madonna is one of the most inaccessible celebrities anyway. But I've heard people describe it as being in the same room watching her perform. The attitude of the show made you feel like you were further away from her than you sitting in Sydney, Australia, while she's at her home in London. She felt so distant. Like, she performed really well. She always does. But there was no clear moments of Madonna, it felt like the show was so overly serious, and I think that's what lost it for me. Is because I know Madonna can be serious, but she can also have fun, and she didn't really have fun in the Drowned World tour, and that was disappointing to me. Um, that being said, the Drowned World tour choreography is fantastic. The Drowned World tour choreography was out of this world, and the Drowned World tour holds some pretty fantastic remixes of songs, and in my opinion, some of her best interlude performances. Um, all really fantastic. I do like certain elements. I dislike a lot of elements of it. Um, everybody I think has their least watched or least favorite, and this is my least favorite. All right, the tour lasted from June 9th, 2001 to September the 15th, 2001. There were 19 shows in Europe, 28 in North America, for 47 in total. All right, next comes the Re-Invention World Tour. This show, when I first saw it, I hated it. I'll be completely honest. When I first saw it, I hated it. The more I watch it, the more I fall in love with it. Because I don't think I appreciated at the time the beauty of the show and how generous she was being playing the songs that she played. American Life was a tough period for Madonna because the fans weren't accepting the album with open arms, and the critics sure as hell weren't either. And she was getting a lot of backlash from that, and she had to change her music video. Um, and the tour, you can tell throughout the show, she seemed very conscientious of what she was doing, what she was saying, who she was talking about. It's one of the few Madonna tours that didn't really have any controversy surrounding it of show element. The controversies came from Elton John claiming she lip synced for the show, which, yeah, I'll be the first to say, Madonna does not always sing all of her shows live, but she does not lip sync the entire show uh, at all. There are songs she does perform live. Uh, in Re-Invention, she performed a good majority of the show live. Nobody Knows Me was lip synced, I'll say that. Frozen was live. Frozen was live. American Life was live, except for the rap, but I won't try that live either. Um, Imagine was live. Lament was live. Uh, Deeper Deeper was live. A lot of the acoustic section was live, and the costumes were so beautiful for this tour. The Marie Antoinette corset, and the black ensemble she wore for the acoustic section were beautiful. I didn't love the kilts, but I understand why she did it, and it was always fun to see what she would put on. The stage confused me at first, but the stage grew on me. All in all, this tour was a gift that at the time a lot of people didn't appreciate because it was different. And I don't think that's quite fair. But I think Madonna fans regard it much better now. The tour started on May the 24th, 2004, and ended on September the 14th, 2004. There were 17 shows in Europe, 39 in North America, for 56 total. Next is my personal favorite tour, the Confessions tour. She looked amazing. The set list was amazing. Choreography was amazing. Costumes were amazing. She was amazing. I do have parts of the show that I don't enjoy as much as others. I will say that. Madonna, she's human. Not every single second of the show she does is gonna be solid gold. Your personal favorite tour moment. The Confessions tour, though, is my favorite because it was my very first serious Madonna introduction. Confessions on a Dance Floor was my very first Madonna album that I ever listened to. The Confessions tour was the first show that I sat down and I watched over and over again to pick up on things. I love the show immensely. It's a fantastic show. I think it is the best tour that she has embarked on, and I know that's such a cliche thing to say that Confessions is her greatest. But the reason I say Confessions is her greatest is because it was the first time in a long time that she was herself again on stage. And it was the first time she really kind of let her hair down. And all the other shows, Virgin, Who's That Girl, Blonde, Girlie Show, Drown World, Re-Invention, it was very strict to the T. This is what happened. Confessions, she had her moments where it was the first tour, I think, that she had her moments where she could be unpredictable. And she really kind of let people in more on Confessions than her other shows. She showed parts of herself that she'd kept under wraps for so long. That's why I love that tour so much. Right, the tour started on May the 21st, 2006, and finished on September the 21st, 2006. 22 shows in Europe, 34 in North America, 4 in Asia, for 60 total. Next is Sticky and Sweet. This tour gets so much hate, and I don't understand why, because this is an amazing show. If you do not like the Sticky and Sweet tour, it's because you are convincing yourself that you don't like it. The Sticky, you don't have to like the whole show, but you know there is at least one part of the Sticky and Sweet tour show that you absolutely love. You know it, okay? And the Like a Prayer remix, you know that you love. You know you love the Like a Prayer remix for the Sticky Sweet. The stage I didn't really fall in love with because it was a rehash, a little bit of Confessions, just minus the side ramps, and add the circular in the stage and screen down there. But she knew that people were a little pissed off with Hard Candy as an album, her fans, and she gave zero shits and played over half the album live. Like Spanish Lesson, I love that song. I love Spanish Lesson. Miles Away, She's Not Me, Heartbeat, Candy Shop, Devil Wouldn't Recognize You, Give It to Me, 4 Minutes. She knew people were pissed, and she wanted to force them into accepting the new material. And I think she was gorgeous on the tour. She was gorgeous. I mean, she looked amazing. Costumes were amazing. The videos were amazing. The show was fantastic. It really was. And so many people undercredit it for being bullshit. I loved Sticky Sweet. It was a great show. Tour started on October 23rd, 2008, finished on September the 2nd, 2009. There were 42 shows in Europe, 30 in North America, 11 in South America, 2 in Asia, for a total of 85 shows. All right, next comes the MDNA World Tour. I was confused by MDNA at first because I really didn't understand the violence, and then the cheerleader, and then the darkness of, but it grew. I came to understand that it really was a journey of darkness to light, as she said. Greatest first act to any of her tours ever, hands down. Greatest first act, from Girl Gone Wild to I Don't Give a, fantastic. The Girl Gone Wild performance is amazing. The intro, phenomenal. The Revolver performance, great. Love the choreography. Love the opening with the gunplay. The starting that. Gangbang, phenomenal performance. Love it. Papa Don't Preach, it's fun to watch her with the thug down at the end, hung up, slacklining. I Don't Give a, the moving stage, going up on the pillar, raising her hand, and Nicki Minaj in the backdrops. I love the show so much. I love MDNA. MDNA is fantastic, and people hate too much on MDNA. I think they hate more They judge their opinion on the show based upon the DVD, which is not fair. Because MDNA is a spectacular performance, theatrically amazing, ambitious, altogether phenomenal show. It started on May the 31st, 2012, and finished on December the 22nd, 2012. There were 3 shows in Asia, 30 in Europe, 45 in North America, 10 in South America, for a total of 88 shows. And last comes the Rebel Heart Tour. I got to see Rebel Heart live in person. It's a phenomenal show. Best tour of any artist through 2015, the first part of 2016, hands down. Probably my favorite Madonna stage. Probably has my favorite Madonna stage costume. The second act costume, the Rockabilly Meets Tokyo, I adore. I don't know why, I love it so much. I adore the Body Shop, the costume she wears in Body Shop to Love Don't Live Here Anymore. Kind of strips it off like a virgin, but I love the jacket. She just looks so rough and tumble and cool, and very James Dean, and I loved her. Heartbreak City, Love Don't Live Here Anymore performances. Fantastic. Rebel Heart was emotional. The Illuminati interlude was. The tour has her greatest interludes, I think, of any tour she's ever done. Sign was beautiful. Illuminati, Sex, all wonderful interludes. They were all phenomenal, and she was so personal. Let herself go, let herself loose, to do as she pleased and as she wanted, and I loved her for it, and I continue to love her. That's all for this video, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.